This next one is about recruiting. I don't know who it's from. Hold on.
What's up, Mover? What's up, Gonky? Just wanted to talk about the recruiting problem that you guys talked about on the podcast. I think it's a mental problem, not a physical problem. Yes, there are physical problems in this country, but I think the sense of civic duty is lost in my generation. I'm 18. I've wanted to join the Marine Corps since I was 10 years old. I've worked very hard at staying fit, staying active, looking very good for a officer selection board. I broke my wrist, but I was able to heal and recover and get a waiver for it. So I have that love for my country that I want to serve for it, and I could potentially die doing it, and I'm content with that. You guys made that choice of I could potentially die what I'm doing, but it's for the greater good and I'm protecting my country, and my generation doesn't have that anymore. Love the podcast, boys, and see you guys next week.
Hell yeah. I feel like there was a knife hand throughout the entire thing. T-Bear, he hit on everything you've ever said. Go.
Yeah. I mean, what more can I say? I mean,
just say it all again. Just use your voice.
Dude, it's a calling, and it's not for everybody. And unfortunately, as our generations have moved on, we've gotten less and less people in each one of those generations that have that calling. And like I always go back to the World War II guys. You know, those dudes saved the world, and they were fighting to sign up to go fight, and you know, then as you moved on, you get Vietnam. You still had the guys that were, joining up to defend the country. And of course, people drafted who ended up there. But you still had the people that were trying to join up and go. And then, you know, my generation, it was a lot of people were signing up to defend their country. And you see, as you get into the more entitled and it's somebody else's job is what it comes down to. Somebody else has to take care of me. I don't need to go put myself at risk. And I think like the guy hit, I think he hit on the head that younger generations just don't understand the meaning of freedom. You know, if you can be alive, but maybe not quite as free, they think that's okay. And then that just keeps getting whittled away at a little bit at a time until, you don't have any more freedom. And it takes dudes that look at that and go, no, we need to defend our country. We need to fight for what's right. And somebody's got to do it. And that's, I don't look down at anybody that chooses not to do that because that's just them. But thankfully, there are a lot of young men and women out there that do have the calling to defend their country. Just unfortunately, they probably took ADHD medicine.
Oh yeah. Hey, Luna.
Yeah, Doug. Do you remember? Or Doug, T-Bear, do you remember when I was finally selected? So after all that, I went through a student hire and Katrina and all that stuff. And I was finally selected, and they said, hey, here's your pilot slot. You're going to OTS or whatever. And there was this point where I had to make the decision because it's not real until you have to make that decision. But I went back and forth. I'm like, I don't know if I really, is this really what I want? And do you remember what you told me? How to make that decision?
Was it about the flying versus not flying?
Yeah. Because I said, well, what happens if I can't fly? What happens if, all the waivers and stuff that I got for vision, what if that all comes back and I'm not going to be able to fly? You remember what you told me about sitting on my back porch?
Yeah. I said the litmus test to this whole thing is if you weren't signing up to fly, would you still sign up? And that's the real answer there and I keep telling people that want to join to be pilots, I always say that over and over. Would you join if you couldn't be a pilot? And if the answer to that's yes, then go ahead and join up because it means you have that calling to defend your country. If the answer is like, oh, if I can't fly, I don't want to join, then you're probably not the right guy. And I know we get a lot of people that are in like that and they end up being okay. But to me, the base foundation of why they're there is not correct. Because I didn't know if I was going to be able to fly in the Air Force, but I wanted to join. I wanted to do whatever I could do. I actually called them up and I said, what can I do for the Air Force Reserve? Because I was getting in a reserve unit. And it just so happens they go, well, you want to fly jets? So, and I just honestly believe that, because you can't really join. It has to be an unselfish thing. You can't join for something you're going to get out of it. You have to join because it's my calling to go keep this country free and protect the people that don't have the calling. I don't see anything negative about those folks. It's not for them.
I'm going to take this full circle with the leadership thing we talked about last week, because I think, T-Bear, the people that join for their own selfish reasons are the people that then try to promote for their own selfish reasons. And then they become the people in power with their own selfish reasons, and they have no servant leadership. They have no leadership. They're just managers. And it's what can I do to protect myself?
Yep.
That permeates your entire career.
Yeah. And that has definitely changed. Because, I mean, you look back at, you look back at Robin Olds. You want to talk about a leader. I mean, a man like that went over there and led that squadron. I mean, that's the kind of leaders we need. Unfortunately, a guy like him today would get an Article 15 or letter of reprimand and run out as a lieutenant, probably.
Sure would.
I love the voice message, but what I'd like to hear more of and see more of is kids like this that are 18 and got the fire in their belly. I love it. I think it's great. But I'd love to see them inspiring their peers. I would love to see them trying to lift their peers up, to cooperate, to graduate, to help show them the path and show them the true meaning and to show them the way they think versus, I think this is the reason why, but also try to help out. I think
he sounds like a pretty
example.
He sounds like a pretty squared away. I mean, the two things, if he would have never said it, and you'd be like, what branch you think this young man's going to try to go to? Oh, he's a knife hand. There was a knife hand.
Yeah,
he's a Marine, hands down, dude.
He was knife handing throughout that entire thing.
But honestly, thinking through it, that's why the Marines didn't miss their quota, is because you can a Marine, their brand or, the people they attract are, they're a certain kind of person. And in my mind, a good person, somebody who wants to serve and is not selfish, wants to be a part of something, bigger and better. But I would argue, man, a guy like him, if he's 18 years old and he's staying fit and he's, keeping his stuff together, other people are going to notice that, and they're going to, they're like, hey man, what are you doing? I want to be a Marine. Why do you want to be a Marine? And then he can go into his, his reasons why in it. And I think that would inspire people. Cause I remember when I was in school younger, I was, part of, not everybody went to college. Some people went to the military, and it was always like, what are you going to do in the Air Force, man? What are you going to do in the Army? And they would tell you, and it was interesting to me, cause I didn't know, and we'd have the recruiters come and talk. So, I think that's, a little bit of just leading by example does go a long way, even today.
Awesome.